Hello there.
Hello, harvesting time.
Welcome to the garden, everybody. Would you like to see the soaring success of our experiment? You'd like to see it. I'd like to see it. I see it every day, but I want to see it even more. Anyway, this is an experiment that has gone, it's a soaring success. It's just absolutely incredible. What a success, how beautiful. Initially, when we started this operation, I was down and out. Actually down, but not out. My entire crypto portfolio, actually my entire portfolio was going through various different challenges, and I had been living off of passive income, and one thing after another went wrong, and things came to a grinding halt. So I'd asked myself, what do you do? How do you make something out of nothing? Well, mushroom farming. So utilizing very, very little financial resources and predominantly other people's waste products, we've grown a successful permaculture mushroom farm. This is one of the applications we came up with when I was thinking about the bucket cultures a lot of other people are doing, which is how we started. I thought this concept can be adapted to a bunch of different sort of applications. And you can see this is one of the things that we came up with. You definitely saw this here first. I've scoured the internet for all of the other mushroom farms and mushroom farmers and mushroom farming ideas. As far as I know, nobody's doing this. You saw it here first. This is a Renegade Spores, original idea. I don't care if you do it, but just recognize that this was our idea first. We've even got mushrooms that are exploding and popping at the bottom. Lots of them. Wow, look at them go. These are blue oysters. You can see they're popping out the sides here too. This is a second flush. So this is a second flush in about a week and a half out of this cage that we've got here. And over here, these ones are also just exploding. More blue oysters here that are just doing absolutely famously. They're delicious and nutritious. And there's different substrates in here. So this one it's a combination of straw and wood chips. And over here we've got a combination of straw, wood chips, coffee grinds from our local Starbucks, and cardboard. The cardboard is just the frame in this one, but oyster mushrooms will grow off of cardboard. They're one of the only species that you can really get fruits off of a cardboard. Oysters are very aggressive and quick growing species. So yeah, lift that up. Let's see. You can see some mycelium here. But this whole operation is just a soaring success. It's been a lot of experimentation and it's going really, really well. Over here we have wine caps. Here, you do the honors, Mom. Reach in. No. I mean, reach in there and show them how thick the mycelium is over here. This is the wine cap, or the what do you call it? Kingstraferia, I think is another name for it.
Wood chip.
It has a bunch of different names, but these guys, this is just a really, really thick culture. And we've basically been using this to incubate substrate all summer long. So this bed has been getting turned. It's been getting turned multiple times. So we haven't got any fruits out of it, but that's probably...
wood chips.
Yeah. We haven't got any fruits out of this culture yet, but it's probably mostly because we continuously disturb it and add new substrate to it. So this is going really well. Kingstraferia, or the wine cap mushroom, or garden giant. Over here you can see we're extending these beds. We're installing various different logs that are going to be various different logs which are going to be inoculated with different types of mushrooms. We have, I think, somewhere between 12 and 15 different species and strains of gourmet and medicinal mushrooms growing right now. This whole area is a lot of wine caps, but we're going to add some oyster mushrooms underneath these logs. And all of the logs in and around our garden beds are going to eventually be inoculated with various different species. So far, we've harvested 4 different species. We've harvested pink oysters, blue oysters, lion's mane, and shiitake. But we have many more different types of mycelium. We've got lots of different mycelium cultivating in our environment. So it's not only the ones that we've taken the fruits of. And this is just our little house. Oh, look at this.
Look at this.
Beautiful. This is beautiful. And just you wait till we have the King Sterferias, because these are giant mushrooms, like big like portobellos or even bigger. That's probably the most comparable secondary saprophyte, or the secondary saprophytic mushroom. So the mushrooms you get out of the store. I'm going to back up and look at our beautiful gardens, eh? Isn't it a wonderful place to be? You know, we've got these beautiful gardens here, and we're blessed to have, mostly wonderful neighbors. It's a lovely neighborhood we live in, and there's a lot of lovely people here for the most part. And we made some new friends and some people who we're going to partner up with in the future on some ventures as we expand and incorporate our business and acquire all of our licenses and grow it to a farm. But we've made some lovely friends, and we've experienced some interesting challenges as well. Yeah, and that's the purpose of life, right? Is to learn and grow and collaborate and co-create and to face the challenges that come up and become better as a result of it, right? So these are our lovely gardens. These buckets over here have got lion's mane growing out of them. This whole area, yeah, we have a bunch of these birch logs that have been inoculated with, I can't even remember. I think that these are blue oysters, but one or two of them might be shiitakes. Yeah, this is a soaring success. It's a soaring success, and basically the idea here in our tiny little home in the suburbs is to build the proof of concept, so that the world can see what we're up to doing this permaculture work here and doing this mycology work here. And it won't be long though before we're acquiring a facility, or at least before we take on the lease of a facility, and eventually the acquisition of somewhere between 100 and 600 acres of real estate, like acreage, like out in the forest, out in the country, where we can really, really scale this operation. So we're not only growing mushrooms, we're growing all different kinds of native plants that are... Mom, why don't you talk about pollinators? That's your area of expertise. I was just telling them, everybody, this is my wonderful mother, Catherine, who is in the process of rescuing butterfly larvae who will probably be eaten by ants if she doesn't. And I'll let you speak more about that.
Oh.
Here's the microphone, metaphorically speaking.
These are monarch eggs, these little guys here. And when I have lots of milkweed growing, and as you can see here, the ants, get this, Surgeon, the ants are patrolling. They wait until the egg hatches, and then they gobble up the little babies.
And they're just eating them, right?
Yeah.
Because I don't know if you know this, but ants are also farmers. Yeah. They're one of the only other species that farms another species. So humans, we practice animal husbandry, where we take chickens and goats and cows and other animals and we work with them. But ants actually do that with aphids. Do you know about that?
I don't know about that, but I do know that they eat the monarch eggs.
Yeah, so they're not farming them.
Well, maybe possibly the eggs.
They're the larvae and the eggs.
They do, because I've let the eggs hatch
on
here, and then the next day they're gone. But the little hole where the new caterpillar has been eating is there.
Yeah. So ants are quite similar to us in this capacity. Is that ants are farmers. Yeah. So I believe it's aphids, and maybe if anybody out there is on YouTube world and they want to jump in the comments down below and share more information with us about this, that'd be awesome. But as far as I understand, ants farm aphids, and they utilize aphids to produce a culture some sort of fungus that they feed to the ants' young. So ants are really interesting creatures in the animal kingdom, that they're farmers like us, and they have different ideas of how to cultivate. They figured out ways to cultivate other species and work with other species to cultivate different, food products. But we don't want them eating the butterflies. And that's the point. If I may be so bold as to say it for you and let you elaborate on it, but that's a lot of your garden is home to native species that are designed to attract pollinators and butterflies. Is that correct?
Yeah, because it's so important, especially we're involved in going on butterfly count in a certain area every year, and I'm really concerned, not the only one, about pollinators and butterflies, and you can see the numbers from year to year. And so anyway, it's important for as more farmland is taken over, it's more, it's really and built on, etc. It's really important for people to plant pollinator-friendly plants in their gardens, and for monarchs, especially milkweed, because that's the only place that monarchs lay their eggs.
Yeah.
So anyway,
Well, and it's one of the main food sources of the monarch butterfly, is it not?
well, no, not really. Well, for the
Oh, for the larvae.
for the caterpillar.
The caterpillar, but not for the butterfly.
That's right. But for
Yeah.
the caterpillars, that's what they eat.
Yeah, and it's, I don't know. Again, I'm not an expert entomologist, which means an insect scientist, or an expert botanist. Really, I know a lot more. I'm more of a mycologist than anything else as far as the sciences go, the biologies of wildlife go, as well as just sort of an overall ecologist. But as far as I understand, it is the second major pollinator. Like, butterflies are basically the next biggest pollinator next to bees. These are the little eggs, right?
Yep.
Yeah, so I could be wrong, and maybe if I am, someone will correct me and chastise me brutally on the comments on YouTube, as is the fashion these days. But as far as I understand it, bees are the main pollinator that humans rely upon. Now, bees are a pollinator that we can work with in a much more active sense, and I mean, really, humans exert more controls over bees as a pollinator than they do over butterflies. But butterflies, I believe, are the next greatest pollinating species next to bees. So they're really important, and the work that you and your butterfly friends are doing is really, really important work.
Probably the most important thing at this point is to get the word out for people to plant milkweed and plant pollinator-friendly plants. But as far as monarchs go, particularly milkweed, because that's the place where the monarchs lay their eggs, and that's the food source for monarch caterpillars. So it's really important. Plus, they have a pretty flower. However, they have roots that go along and up, so they pop up here and there. So if you don't want them popping up here and there, you can get a nice big pot and plant them in the pot, or on your patio, on your apartment patio, whatever, balcony.
So there we have it, folks, from a butterfly expert, at least more of a butterfly expert than me. And yeah, welcome to our lovely gardens. You've seen a bunch of the videos of our process and of our, some of the technology that we have developed. Low tech, right? Like, we're doing some pretty low tech stuff here compared to, other operations. But here we are in our gardens, and this is our home, and we're just sharing in the joy of growing some food and exploring nature, and and providing food and some medicine for our family. And this is sort of our proof of concept. This is a small scale permaculture operation and applications of various different principles. Over here, to get back to the mushrooms, we've got a bunch of these logs have been inoculated, and this is I'm going to fill them up with wood chips. This area is already full of wood chips. Each of these, so there's a bunch of wood chips underneath there, and then I layered some mushroom spawn. We layered some shiitake spawn underneath there, and threw some rounds when I did some chainsaw work to make these round slices and a bunch of sawdust. But each of these milk crates has a different type of mycelium growing inside of it. My idea here was, okay, I'll inoculate the whole area, but why not also, if I'm going to test something out in a smaller sort of receptacle or a container like this, if I'm going to test it out, why not increase the odds of one of the cultures that I'm attempting to cultivate growing? So I put them on top of this whole zone that's full of a substrate. And all of this substrate's been inoculated, but each of these has also been inoculated. Now, if one of those inoculations fails, maybe some of the inoculation in the substrate beneath will come up and colonize. On the other side, if maybe something works out really well, I'm going to dig in because I know one of these is doing really good. I'm pretty sure that this right here is a white and gold, I don't even know. We caught this one from the farmers market, from the Highway 9 farmers market, who are lovely friends of ours who have a wonderful market. And one day in the future, when we have our licensing, might possibly be partners. We saw these beautiful white oyster mushrooms with fuzzy goldness on them. They were gold and white and beautiful, and we captured some of those. And I believe that this may actually be growing. We bought some of those and brought them back from their environment. Oh wow, look at that! It's just thick and white inside. So mycelium's growing here. Beautiful. That's great. Now, I'm not 100% sure if that's from Highway 9 or if it's one of the other species that we got. Another one of our main supplier of spawn is a site called growmushrooms.ca. I'm really looking forward to actually meeting those folks and doing an interview with them at some point. But we get a lot of our spawn from them. But we also capture species from the environment, whether it's from forests or it's from other markets or other farmers. Now here we have, I think this is chestnut mushrooms, and that's starting to take off too. So we are in business here. Over here, this is going to be King's. These are king oysters in here that we just got from a supermarket. How about that? You can see that some of this stuff needs to be covered up. There's some spots, and I just took a mushroom and sliced it up. We grew the mycelium initially onto some cardboard. And after that, I said, I'm just going to put it right into the sawdust. Why not? A lot of people, I think, oh, look at all this sawdust we got. Beautiful. This is going to be an expansion of our spawn operation. We have a bunch of buckets over here that have been inoculated too, mostly with blue oyster. That's one of the most voracious species, but all this sawdust is going to be great to grow mushrooms on. We have our last little bit of the first pile of wood chips we got. We're still working on our first chip drop, folks. And now that I'm not in the backyard anymore, I'll just say this. We ran into some resistance from the municipality. We really ran into some resistance from some species, an extremely aggressive and untrustworthy species of rodent that came from that direction. They've been our biggest pest so far, if you can read between the lines. But today we served papers to the municipality challenging their ridiculous orders to comply and disputing their basically orders to shut us down and try to stop us from growing our own food and doing our own thing on our own property in our own gardens. I probably shouldn't talk too much about that until I have a conversation with my lawyer, which I'll do. Anyhow, we got all this. We got all those wood chips, and there's a little bit left. We're going to install them in some of the beds. And then we got a second drop of all these logs that we're processing. We're doing log culture. We have come into the gardens here. This is my dad's idea. Awesome idea, really, because this pile was huge, and I was just going to inoculate them all as logs, which would have taken a lot of time and energy, and we would have perpetuated the problem of the people who are giving us problems having ammunition to give us more and more problems. So my dad came up with the idea, why don't we just use them in garden beds, which I have always done in my hugelkulturs, in my vegetable gardens. I've always used logs and limbs to make the edges of my gardens. And so he said, well, why don't we just put it into place temporarily? And I said, why don't we just put it into place permanently? Because that's a great place for them to go anyways. This is one of those permaculture principles. It's like, do the work once. Don't do work that you're going to have to work against later. Do the work once. Get it there. And this is just one of the best ideas I ever heard. And I didn't really divulge it on video, but I'll say it now, just in a general sense, is that it's been a bit of a process finding the balance, finding the diplomacy between my family and I on this one. And that was just one of the best ideas I ever heard. I'm like, yeah, let's put them into place now, and then we can just go in and drill holes and inoculate them. Or all of these garden beds, all of these hugelkulturs, which already have mycelium growing in them, are likely to come and cultivate and inoculate and colonize these logs anyways. So that's what we did with a lot of that pile, is we just put them in place to make edge. And these are our gardens, folks. This is what's up. Renegade Spores here. My name, I haven't said my name, I don't think. My name is Arjun. I'm Arjun. And I'm Arjun Namdev, and here I am in Canada, in Ontario, doing permaculture and mycology. And we're going to be expanding soon to grow a whole lot of food and medicine, starting with mycology is the first and foremost. But we're growing all different kinds of other species. I mean, I can't count how many different kinds of vegetables we have in here. All kinds of heirloom carrots and potatoes and tomatoes and cabbages and spinach and kales and lettuces, and this whole town, lettuce town over here, this has got a bunch of different leafy greens in it. But yeah, that's what we're up to over here, is we're doing permaculture on a small scale as a proof of concept, and we're looking to expand in a pretty significant way in the not too distant future. And we will be going through all of the proper procedures to become licensed and incorporated and all that good stuff. Not that I care that much about it, but hey, it matters to a lot of folks, right? And first and foremost, I'm doing this for the fun of it. I'm not doing this for profit. I'm doing it for to grow food and medicine and to have joy and be connected to the earth and have a sense of spiritual fulfillment and connection to life, the universe, and everything. However, it's nice to make a bunch of money while you're at it, right? So this is what's up. Here we are. This is Renegade Spore's suburban headquarters. And this is our update. This is June 20-something. I don't know. I don't even know what date it is. I'm too busy working in the gardens to care about that. But here we are. And it's our midsummer update. And good things are growing here in our gardens. And we are well on our way to 10x growth. This is sort of my zone here, but just to wrap it up, this is just like a personal thing. I wanted to make this nice little area where I can sit there and read my books or listen to some music or drink a tea or talk to my friends around the world. And all of these, there's going to be a bunch of vines, beans, running beans and morning glories, and our squash didn't do too well this year because these are all hugelkulturs, and the first year there's not much soil depth, especially with mushrooms and wood chips. It was straw and wood chips underneath. That was a learning experience, but I want this to be this little canopy. Also, it's full of mosquito repelling plants like sage and rosemary and basils and mints and things like that. They're going to chase the bugs away so that I can hang out in this little nook surrounded by nature and vines and meditate and have this tiny little like peaceful little place right there. So a little slow to start. We were slow to start this year. We were probably like 3 or 4 months behind working on our garden beds and planting our plants, and we didn't have nursery plants. Like, we didn't start a nursery. We were really laid back. It took almost all summer long to get the vehicle for the business set up. But that's the great thing about nature, is nature can grow exponentially if you know what you're doing and you know how to work with it instead of against it. Instead of against it. That's the idea, folks. You want to work with life and you don't want to work against it. So I hope you're all having a lovely day. I hope you enjoyed this little update from us. Please do feel free to reach out to us, like us, comment us, share us, get involved if you're in the local area. And good things are growing in the garden, folks. In this day and age that things are becoming so excessively technological and political and technocratic, I think one of the most valuable things that all human beings across the world, whatever your culture, creed, class, religion, whatever, we could all come closer to nature, and we could all be more connected to life, the universe, the creator, in doing so. So, get out there into the forest and get your hands dirty in the gardens. Love you all. Thank you so much. Stay tuned for the developments. Arjun Namdev from Renegade Spores, over and out for now.